What's up, guys? It's Jesse Simon, and I'm going to be talking about the Unit 2 discussion. So, the question is, how racism is either an individual issue or a systemic issue. And I believe that racism is mainly a systemic and historical issue more than an individual issue because of, how institutions and all these policies were originally designed to benefit more of the white people, And one example from our lecture is the dog whistles. When Ronald Reagan talked about the state rights in the 1980s and how it echoed the South's resistance to desegregation after the Civil Rights Act. And how even Lee Atwater admitted that the language was more abstract, but the racial impact stayed the same, which hurt the black communities, and also through policies like tax cuts and reduced public services, stuff like that. And another idea is the word, structural racism and how that's affected society. And the idea that, even without openly racist people, the system itself can produce these racist outcomes. So, for example, the Compton and Southgate communities, mostly made up of colored people, and this is not because of individual racism, but it's generations of policies that kind of force these communities, these people, these colored people, into these economic disadvantages in these poor environments. Policies surrounding housing, school funding, green space, etc. That kind of forced them into this situation. And this also connects the idea of liberal racism. People who say they don't see color, and people who listen to try to culture themselves in black, cultured rap by listening to rap and doing all kinds of stuff, but they failed to acknowledge the actual struggles and problems that they face today. These colored people, they don't talk about the racist system, the systemic issues, and privileges that go on to this day. They fail to acknowledge that, and in turn, they are being racist and stuff like that, just unintentionally. So the whole thing is because of the systemic issues that we have, and how all these institutions are designed that kind of force this way of living and just normalizing this kind of behavior. So my question is, if we could have a world where there's absolutely zero racism, where people normalize things that are different, people who have different traits, skin tone, whatever, disabilities, can we completely just ignore that and just normalize everyone? And to kind of give some context, the current generation, we're kind of normalizing differences, and we're creating communities, but at the same time that it segregates us. So I'm gonna take an example: Black History Month, stuff like that, where people acknowledge one race for a month, black people for a month in their history. I've heard people say that it promotes racism because you're only acknowledging one race, and you're putting that on a pedestal, kind of making it different and distinct, which promotes racism. On the contrary, which serves like the opposite purpose of what it's supposed to do. I've heard stuff like that. So, can people actually not be racist at all? Is that possible? Leave that in the comments. Thank you for watching.